Hello everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to get the best responses out of ChatGPT or other AI tools by leveraging what is called prompt engineering. Welcome to Lenovo, where we learn every day. I'm sure most of you have used ChatGPT in the past couple of months or other AI tools such as Perplexity, Gemini, and you've been loving it. But it's important to know and learn how to refine your questions or instructions so you can get the best responses that fits your use case. This takes an this is an art and takes some experience and practice before you can get there. But basically, depending on how you ask the question, you can get varieties of responses from ChatGPT. Let's start with an example. I'm just gonna type a quick question on ChatGPT. Interestingly, yeah, now you can access ChatGPT just by typing chatgpt.com. So the web URL is no longer a barrier to accessing it. So the question here is, what's the latest news on the global economy? And once we ask the question, it's going to search the web. Depending on the version of ChatGPT you're using, you might get some also different responses. But clearly, you can start to see the results that is provided. In recent development, the global trade, blah, 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 blah. On April 3rd, President Donald Trump announced comprehensive tariffs on imports from various countries, including a 54 tariff on Chinese goods. This move has led to a 6 trillion loss in US stock value. Now, this is what is called generic prompts. Now, this is a generic prompt, and that's why you can see here that all the responses are mostly focused on the recent announcement of tariff by the US government and nothing more. In scenarios where there are other also important news, you're going to miss it. You might potentially miss those ones because this news overshadows every other news. And because your prompt was very generic, the AI has basically focused on the biggest and most impactful news while ignoring some less significant ones. Interestingly, if you refresh this page and also still ask the same question, you're going to get a different, this similar response, but in a different way. So you can see it says that as of 6th of April 2015, the global economy has experienced turbulence due to recent US trade, which is still revolving around the same topic. Now, what is prompt engineering in itself? I've asked Google basically, and Gemini has provided an AI response which is most fitting. Prompt engineering is the practice of designing and refining prompts, questions/instructions to elicit specific desired results or responses from an AI model. Emphasis on to elicit specific desired responses. So it means that you can basically optimize the way the AI responds to the question you're asking. And definitely, as against the generic prompts that you have here, your prompt should be structured in a specific format. I've optimized the prompt response here, and I'm just going to copy it and paste it in ChatGPT. But I'm going to explain what I've done. So basically, for every prompt, you should start with a goal. The goal is basically what we added here. I intentionally left that as it. What are the top 3 latest news on the global economy? Emphasis on the top 3. So this is what are the latest news on the global economy. Now I'm specifying the top 3. Now I don't just stop there. So that's the goal. This is the goal first. So you start with a goal. Then the second thing is you focus on you ask it the specific, what do you want to find out specifically? What's the specific thing you want to find out? Now, for each, summarize the major issue and possible impacts. And that's what I want to find out, not just a long hallucination about what the global economy, what the news on global economy is. I wanted to focus specifically on the major issue and possible impacts. And lastly, I'm giving it a context. So, for example, if I'm trying to find out in the context of an African startup, an African agricultural startup, I should specify it there for context. For context, I want to understand how this affects an agricultural startup, an agricultural startup in Africa. With this way I've structured my prompts, the AI would take this as an input and act based on this to give me a more refined response that fits, that enables me take more insights and potentially make some instant decisions. So rather than the generic response it gives me, it actually tailors it towards how I can leverage the response. So this is how it's best for you to for you to optimize your prompts. And this could be more complex. This is a very simple prompt engineering example. You can develop a more complex scenario, but in its simplest form, this is what prompt engineering basically is. To avoid AI models or ChatGPT and the likes from hallucinating and giving you like fictitious responses and things like that, you need to be able to optimize the questions and instructions you provide. So let's look at the response that was given. It focuses on number one, new tariffs from the US, but also talks about the impacts on African agricultural startups. Can you see? So that way it's putting it in context of what you can make use of. Why is this new US tariff relevant to an agricultural startup? Secondly, global economic shutdown forecasted. It's not just, so I said the three latest news. So now it's giving me three different news, but and also analyzing it for me to put it in context of why it is important for an agricultural startup. So the second one is global economic shutdown, and the third one is intensified trade negotiation post tariff implementation. So because some of these are connected, you can also see the implications and obviously the responses. This is different from just the broad explanation it provided here, which would take you some level of effort and level of experience or insight to be able to understand how it directly impacts what's an agricultural startup. So I hope you've learned how to optimize your prompts on ChatGPT and other AI models and leverage prompt engineering more effectively. In my next videos, I'm going to be talking a lot about prompt engineering and how to expand on this. Thank you.